crypto and DeFi. Crypto made easy by Zypto, blockchain, Web3, crypto and DeFi.
Hello, blockchain nerds, traders, hodlers, moonboys, and everyone else. And of course, welcome to those of you that have no idea about crypto and are here to learn. Welcome to the Crypto Made Easy with Zypto podcast. Big thanks to AI for the intro music, as per usual. My name's Joe Parkin. I'm one of the founders of Zypto. And in each episode of our podcast, we take a deep dive into a guest project, company, or area of expertise. We also discuss broader cryptosphere topics before opening the floor to our live studio audience here in the @Zypto Global Telegram channel. And today we are very fortunate indeed to be joined by a representative from one of the biggest and most recognizable crypto projects literally of all time. This project has defied all kinds of expectations time and time again. They've built a massive dedicated global community. I'm going to take this moment to send a shout out to the Shib Army, who are always a delight to interact with on social media. And Shib continues to evolve well beyond its origins as a meme coin. Shiba Inu has grown from humble roots as a simple ERC20 token into a full-fledged ecosystem with a decentralized exchange, ShibaSwap, its own layer 2 blockchain, Shibarium, and a whole lot more. Joining us today, we have Whiz, who is a key representative from the Shiba Inu technical team. Actually, I believe this is his first interview ever representing the project, so we're extra lucky. So, hey Whiz, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. And yeah, you're right. This is, I guess, the first time I'm representing or like I'm talking in public after joining as, the lead protocol lead at Shiba Inu.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much once again. And thanks to everybody else on Shiba Inu side for making this happen as well. So first things first, it would be great if you could tell us about yourself. So some general questions such as, how long have you been involved in crypto in general, Whiz?
In general, I will say my first interaction with crypto happened back in 2017. But mainly I started developing few applications here and there, not like much mainstream. I was doing some protocol stuff, but I was not that attracted until the wave of 2019, 2020 came. We see crypto in the form of waves, right? So 2017 was one wave where the whole ERC20 era started, and the whole 2021 was the wave when the whole DeFi era started. So that's where I actually think my life also took a turn, where I started looking more into protocol and deep research into crypto things, how it works. But yeah, I remember first time I looked at crypto, and I remember that time there was very little tokens projects there, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin. That's all. There were not thousands and thousands of tokens back then. So yeah, that's how I 2017 was my first. I hope I would have got introduced back in 2011. I would have literally filled my bag with Bitcoins back then.
Oh, if only. I also didn't get in that early. I knew about it though. I knew about it very early on, but I didn't actually invest until some time afterwards. Quite a long time afterwards, actually.
I was studying back then. I just think about it what were you doing in 2012, boy? Why you were studying? If you would have bought Bitcoin, you would have been not sure where by now.
Oh, well, we're still early, Whiz. We're still early. So, and how long have you actually been working in blockchain?
As I said, so yeah, I would say officially I started 2018. Luckily, I joined a firm which used to do a lot of these ERC20 projects and small projects here and there. So I used to work for a company which used to develop these blockchain products for other companies, projects who don't have their own full-fledged team. And luckily, they had a blockchain department, and within 6 months, so my initial first 6 months were not blockchain, but they transferred me to a, blockchain and Golang. If you know technical terms, Golang is one of the most preferred language. Now it's Rust. Back then, Go, Ethereum, we generally call. So even Ethereum is written in Go. So back then, Golang was one of the primary language for any blockchain development. And I was a Golang developer since start. So luckily due to that, I think I got opportunities to work with a couple of projects here and there. Develop for 1 year this project. I work for few coins I can name, but I don't want to take their name right now. But yeah, so that's doing projects, staying in one company. So I worked for 5-6 projects in a span of 3 years. But as I said earlier, 2019, 2020 was when I actually jumped into this crypto development thing, full time, as in joining a proper protocol project.
Cool. And how did you end up getting involved with Shiba Inu?
Honestly, so I started as a consultant with Shiba Inu leadership for Shibarium. So Shibarium is like, it involves a lot of protocol stuff. It's not easy to build a blockchain. So we started through some connections as a consultant. I used to advise them how does it work, how to take care of it, etc. Voting, staking, fixing bugs, hard forks, all the technical stuff. And then me and the leadership had a good relationship. They liked how I work, etc. And one day they just asked me like, would you like to join us full time? We are building so many crazy things. And yeah, we had like talks, and I'll share a few things in the going forward that what are the plans and all. And I liked it. I mean, I literally liked, just like some people might get shocked to know that how come a meme token is evolving into a full powerhouse utility. Even before I met these guys, I was also under an impression that this is just a meme token, etc. But when I looked at what they're doing, the things they already have under their umbrella and the things they're planning to do, I was blown away. I was literally blown away. And that's what inspired me to take a leap of faith. And I joined SHIB to build all the protocol stuff here.
Yeah, I think people underestimate how much work goes into these kinds of things. There's lots of when, when's this going to happen? When's that going to happen? But evolving from a decentralized meme coin token to what SHIB is today is truly remarkable. It's this is why I'm so excited to have this episode today, to kind of dive into that a bit. People don't realize kind of the organizational structure that has to go on. There's this kind of the symbiosis between the team building things in the background and the community, and both parts of it are essential. And so we're gonna get into details as we move forward. So, how would you describe your role right now within SHIB?
Well, technically, officially, it's protocol lead. I look after anything which is related to protocol. I also discuss a lot of ideas with founders, how to implement them, what we can do. See, crypto is a very crypto is a very crazy space, as in like from general web to development. They have like, legacy system for like 20-25 years. But in a span of last 12 to 15 years, crypto has literally evolved from nothing to a lot of tech. It's people don't understand. They think that it's just Ethereum and Solana. It's not like that. My role is also to look after anything protocol perspective, also take a look at the new things which we are trying to do. What are things we can reuse? What are things we are already existing? And obviously, like Shibarium is, if from external world, if you look at it, Shibarium is also one of our flagship product. So look after Shibarium. That's my one of key responsibilities. And also we are building few new things in house, which I'll explain sometime. So yeah, anything which is related to protocol, as in like the backend, like the brain of blockchain, that's where I jump in.
Brilliant. Actually making things happen. Without the tech people, then there'd be nothing to be excited about.
Yeah, it's a teamwork, honestly. I would not say that actually. It's more like you can think like a simple analogy of car. So you can think of like if you're making a car, it's important. The engine is important, but you can't only sell engine, right? So we are the people who might be interested in engine, enhancing the performance and all that. But to sell it or to make it usable, I'm not the one who actually interact with users a lot, because my product is to build the background tech. And then there comes a lot of other engineers and people and brilliant minds who actually make that thing usable so that the users can actually have a good user experience.
And then the community to use it and spread the word about it. The whole thing works. It's all part of the car.
It's like a machine. It's like a machine, and I'm a part of it. I won't say I'm not the whole machine, but I'm a good part. I where like the backend stuff happens. So yeah.
Brilliant. Right. So the way we have the podcast set up generally is it's split into, a little intro. Then we have the basics where we discuss some kind of very basic kind of blockchain crypto stuff for let's say noobs that's listening in. Then we'll do a deep dive into Shiba Inu and then some more generic kind of crypto things. So we're going to dive into the basics section. And I'm going to start off by asking you to describe how you define the difference between a meme coin and a utility or tech-based project.
Well, it's okay. I'll try my best to answer this. The thing is, technically, when any project starts, it's mostly a community-based project, or, technically meme word is not a good, but community project you can say, because unless their tech is proven, the tech is used, you don't know. And obviously there are few projects which don't have any intent to actually ever become a tech project. That's a separate case. You can actually call them the proper meme tokens, which basically are just dependent, or their whole value is perceived from the fact that the people involved in the community think that it has a value. So
Yeah.
that's fine. You can start there, but ultimately you should have some intent to one day become a project which can actually provide some value to those people who believed in you. And I think that's what Shiba is doing. So it's not a bad thing to start as a meme token. I think that's what the vision of the founder Ryoshi was. They started this as a community driven, fully decentralized project. They just wanted to look how big we can become with the support of community, even without having a tech product once. And now their successors are actually trying to implement the whole tech stack, the idea and all, to make this into a tech-based product. So meme token is, I mean, it depends how you classify yourself, but every project initially can be like a community-based or meme token. But once they have a utility, once they have like something to give it to people, like for example, we have today Shibarium. Okay, we have, already Shiba Swap and a lot of other projects we are coming up with. We have our own games, metaverse and all that. I know a lot of tech. I mean, literally in my team, I was blown away when I actually came to know that there are a lot of brilliant engineers working in Shiba, a lot of different things. So we have a lot of all this, and somehow it's like nobody's 100% sure. If you ask Ethereum or any other big project, Solana or anyone, that what are you guys going to do after 50 years? I'm not sure they will have an answer, but everyone has like a short term to mid term vision that, okay, this is where we want to reach in next 1 to 2 years, 3 years. So that's what we are trying to do. In next 1 to 2 years, we are trying to become like a full-fledged tech product where we have a whole suite of things where people can do whatever they want in the Web3 world. Like if there is anything in the Web3 world, if there is any tool, anything out there which other people are giving you as a service or as a tool, we would also like to get a share out of it. And that's where the value of the infrastructure, the value of the ecosystem of the token will come in. That's very basic difference. I mean, if you have something to offer, you can classify yourself as a tech or utility product.
Yeah, interestingly, I've heard many comments that fiat could definitely be considered meme coins. So euro, US dollars, etc. They don't have any kind of technical basis to them, and really their value is based on faith. See, people say the same thing about Bitcoin as well. So it's interesting that in the crypto space we have this concept that what are cryptocurrencies and can be exchanged for goods and services can also evolve into the basis of technological advancements. I think that's one of the most fascinating things for me, like within the crypto space. Would you consider it to be kind of essential for the whole space for more evolution towards utility?
Yep. The reason is, see, it's a long-term game. I mean, if you're just looking for short-term things, you might argue that, like meme coin is fine, community-driven is fine. But I mean, that's not what we are here trying to do. As an engineer, I mean, I'm not here to do as a management talk or marketing gimmick or something. I'm an engineer, and I believe if you are delivering something, I mean, if you're giving something to people as an option, it must have some value. It must have some utility. Otherwise, going forward, like if not today, maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, people will realize and they will stop using it. I mean, I don't want to name, but you can relate. You can look at some of the tokens which recently got launched at crazy numbers, and then suddenly they got pumped and dumped and etc. And eventually people realize that there is no intrinsic value or no use. So as I said, I mean, if you are not tech-driven project right now, that's fine, but you should at least have that intent or must have a vision or something. I mean, that's what makes Shiba Inu different. At least we have our co-founders trying their best. I mean, it's not 100% sure that you will become the powerhouse or you will become the next big project, etc. But what's important is you should give your 100%. You should try with all the resources you have and try to give it back to the community. I think that's what I believe, because in engineering, there is nothing is certain. I mean, I can't guarantee that tomorrow I'll make the next supercomputer out there. But yeah, I mean, at least we are trying. So that's what my thing is. Like, even if you're a meme token, if you're a community-based token, think about your community. Try to give them something because they believe in you. And long-term game, I personally believe those who don't think in this direction will eventually lose out the value, because community is like, I don't think community without any return or something, people will keep supporting you for like longer term, like 10 years down the line.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I totally agree with the idea of whatever it is you're doing, at least try to do the best you can. Not just in crypto, just in general. But it is true that crypto as a blockchain in general is it's still early days, and I see a lot of laziness in projects out there, and I don't think they'll survive. I hope. Well, at least I hope that projects such as Shiba Inu that are really, really trying to push things forward will be the ones that survive long term. Okay, so before we get into the really deep dive into your ecosystem, I think it'd be good to start off by kind of really making sure that we lay out what the current pillars are. So we have the Shiba Inu token, ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain. So you have the decentralized exchange ShibaSwap, which is shibaswap.com. Also Shibarium, the L2 chain, which is integrated on Zypto app, which you should check out if you haven't already. Anything else I'm missing?
We do have like metaverse projects, gaming projects also out there. I remember teams doing demos internal and all. Although, as I said, I'm not part of that team, so I don't exact links, but I think you can find this on our website. Or maybe like if you go to our official handle, let me check if you go to like ship.io, that's our official ship website. I'm pretty sure you will find about other projects like the ecosystem and all the things which we are building. Yeah, I can see the games and all. So yeah, I mean, those are our two flagship products, but we do also have like metaverse, and there are a couple of games I can see, which I think are available on iOS, Android, and all that. So yeah, it's not just about serious business. It's some fun as well.
Oh, you got to have some fun. And there's stuff that people don't think about, like the Shiba Inu is also a news outlet. There's a huge amount of content on the magazine. There's a Telegram channel you can sign up to get crypto news. All of this stuff I can tell you because we've got things on Zypto.com as well, like this, blogs and news and stuff. It takes so much work to organize this stuff. So much. Right. Next up, we're going to take a deep dive into the Shiba Inu project. So first of all, we're going to rewind a bit. And I know this isn't, you weren't there right at the start, Whiz, but how would you say Shiba Inu started? Like, how were the early days?
Sure. So, I mean, as I said, like 2021 was a season when a lot of these kind of things happening. And I think from what I know, and also the community knows, like it's a very anonymous project, honestly speaking. Nobody knows the exact person behind it, just like Bitcoin. I mean, we know Vitalik, but we don't know like the actual people. But so from what I've heard on the white paper and also Ryoshi was the guy who was the creator behind this. And he actually, as I said, wanted to experiment with the idea that how big we can make a community driven project without having things in the start. Just wanted to look into the community's, support and all that. So I think that's where the idea of Shiba Inu came into the picture. I think it was somewhere around 2020, 21. I don't know the exact date, but in 21, I remember when COVID and all was going on, the Shiba team actually donated, I guess, 50% of the, Shiba supply to Vitalik. And Vitalik actually used that funds to the India COVID relief fund, which was started by Sandeep from Polygon. So all that actually gave it like that was if you don't know, almost
no, I didn't know
$1 billion. Okay, that's one of the biggest news. Like literally almost. I mean, I'm not sure the current value, but back then in those terms, when like whatever the market cap of Shiba was, back then it was like more than $1 billion worth of Shiba Inu funds were used to provide COVID relief to people in India in different regions. So
that's insane.
That money,
amazing.
That money went from Shiba Foundation to Vitalik, and Vitalik had the supplies. So Vitalik thought, what can I do out of it? So instead of obviously like, he didn't waste it. He just used it to provide the funds to the crypto relief fund, and eventually that turned out to be the master stroke, the good thing. I mean, that's what I mean. Even look at this way. Like even before we had any tech projects or anything, the community was actually trying to help the people in some way possible, like indirectly, although. But it turned out that the Shiba community's support helped a lot of people. I mean, $1 billion is a lot of money. So
it's a huge amount of money.
It's a huge money,
but this is the kind of relief that you would expect to be coming from governments.
Yes. So that's, I mean, if you look at India COVID relief by Sandeep from Polygon, so you will find that Shiba was I think biggest, not one of the biggest, but it was the biggest donor of that fund. Like I think majority of it was coming through that, and then that literally changed the game. That basically the scheme of India COVID relief and all that basically got a lot of funds and that kickstarted the journey. I think mostly that's where I came to know about Shiba first time, that okay, this is happening, because I belong to India and I am like, okay, my God, this company, this currency, great step, good work, as I said back then. But yeah, I mean, just like others back in 2021, everybody thought it's just going to remain as a meme token and all. But eventually, over time, the vision started. Then, I mean, once they reached that place, so the difference is they reached that height, they reached that place where they were like a top 10 currency and all that, top 10, top 20. Like in the 2021 bull run, and then they realized that no, we just want to sit. I mean, we just don't want to sit idle. I mean, it's not like that we reached there and now we are just taking advantage of the community or nothing. We now want to build products, and that's when actually the vision started. I mean, think it this way: first they released the token, then they actually launched what they want to do with it. So it's not traditional, but back then it worked. So now they have like a lot of things. They want to build literally a decentralized world. Like the idea is to build this network state. You might have heard like about network state in Balaji's conversation a lot. So kind of similar to what they want to build. Basically, they want to make a world where everything and the whole community and the whole ecosystem is fully decentralized. Everything in the hands of the community, including the governance and the utility tokens and etc. So it's Shib's model is not much. I mean, from what I know, is not much around. Like they don't want to create like a foundation for long. I mean, the foundation and all is a temporary stuff from what I've heard and know. So that's how I think it started, and I think we have done a good job, like 2 to 3 years, because it's not easy. It's not easy to build. It's easier said than done. And forward like 3 years, 4 years down the line, I think they have some really good tech products, and they're still building. So as I said, intent is important, and they still have the team still has the intent to build and serve the community. So that's more important than and anything.
No, I think that's absolutely brilliant. I didn't know about that donation, and it's the kind of thing where anybody that's listening to this that doesn't know very much about crypto and blockchain, maybe you should consider how when politicians are often fighting about whether or not to give aid and helping other people, and meanwhile there are very, very many cases of people who have founded projects anonymously. We don't know who they are, yet them being anonymous doesn't mean that they're not good people. The people have to remain anonymous lots of the time because they have to protect themselves. But I've seen many cases of blockchain communities and blockchain projects doing incredible things to help other people, animals, and so on and so forth. So let's move on to Shibarium. So Shibarium is an L2 blockchain. We've spoken about what L2 blockchains are in previous episodes quite extensively. So could you break down a bit what Shibarium brings to the table and why it's so important to the Shib vision and to crypto in general?
Sure. See, the thing is, I mean, when you enter, as I said, this is a fast-paced world. I mean, things change quickly. Developments are happening at a rapid pace. So I think in this world, it's very important to have like a base. And I think Shibarium is one of the base. Shibarium is like, as a blockchain, you can see it as an L2, but for internally, we see Shibarium as our own base. So if we are trying to build a decentralized ecosystem or a world of ecosystem where like the network, something like network state where everybody is controlled by the decentralized community, then you must have the base. And Ethereum for sure, although we are Ethereum aligned, but I mean, that's why our L2 is like, that's why we didn't went for a full-fledged L1 rather than being Ethereum. I mean, we wanted to stay Ethereum aligned, but we still wanted a place where we can launch all these products, which we have under the radar and, still have like, what do you say, the bandwidth and the community coming into under the same umbrella. So that's where the base comes picture, and Shibarium is that base, honestly speaking, because if you want to launch anything, let's say for Shiba Swap, or let's say the metaverse, or let's say even in future we are going to launch a lot of crypto related projects. I mean, anything you want to build, first you need to have the blockchain, and obviously Ethereum was not the ideal choice provided it was actually expensive. And I mean, the world can see that we are moving towards more like an L2, L3 centric ecosystem, because everybody can't just use L1. They don't have like that much money to spend. You can obviously use L1 for the ultimate finality, the security and all, but for cheaper transactions, for day-to-day usability, you need alternate versions, which are like, you can call them, some of them like L2s, and people are even going up to L3s, app-specific rollups and all that. So considering that, it was important to have Shibarium to build that base. Otherwise, if we start deploying all our things, I mean, imagine the community size. If Shibarium community start doing transaction on Ethereum, I don't think considering the future 5 years down the line, I think it would be too much, cluttered, and like it might create a bottleneck. So we decided that we'll have something like an L2, which will still be Ethereum aligned. That's why it's not an L1. It's an L2 to Ethereum. We still submit our security, and we still inherit the security perspective and all the community and tokens from Ethereum, but we still have our own kind of a space for the community. So that's why Shibarium was needed. And that's why we have it. I mean, it's a core of our everything what we are gonna do. And the fun fact is, I was just looking at it, and people don't realize, but Shibarium has just completed, I think, 10 million blocks. So it's not like 100K.
Oh, wow.
All a million. Yeah, 10 million blocks we have processed already in like last 1.5. I think it's 1.5 year, almost 2 years since Shibarium launched, and we have processed 10 million blocks with like total transactions almost it's like 1 billion. Yeah, 969 billion. So 1 billion transactions have been done in almost 1.5 to 2 years, almost there. So, and it's pretty much stable. I mean, I don't know if anybody, but the moment for the time that I have used it, I found it's pretty much usable. And the credit goes to the community. It's not something we have reinvented the wheel. The underlying tech is still Ethereum, like we are using the same tech used by Ethereum. So that's why the user experience is smooth and all. You can just use whatever you have on Ethereum, the same token, the same wallet, the same private key, and same funds, etc. And you can just come and use it. Shibarium, yeah, that's the important part.
So, how much are Shibarium gas fees at the moment? Do you know, more or less? Tiny, right?
It's like, yeah, very, very small. Right now it should be around like maybe 0.001 cents, something like that. It's pretty low.
Practically nothing. So anybody listening that doesn't know, if you were to use the L1 Ethereum blockchain, it's actually not as expensive as it has been at other times right now, but it's going to cost, maybe 100 times that. Yeah, at the low end, 100 or 1,000 times. I'm testing the Shiba Swap integration this week, which should be live, by the way. By the time this podcast episode goes out, we should have Shiba Swap live, integrated into Zypto app. So you can go on, and you'll be able to swap your Shibarium tokens directly without having to like connect your wallet to anything or, go into the in-app browser or anything like that. So it's nice and easy and smooth.
I was just looking at it, and right now I just picked up one transaction from Shibarium. Transactions are going on Shibarium happening frequently. So I just saw this is actually not like a one simple transaction. It's a smart contract transaction, pretty much loaded with data and all, consuming almost 5 million GOI, but still the cost is $0.0065.
Okay. To compare, interacting with Ethereum smart contracts can cost you $20, $30+
Yes, with similar amount of data, it can anywhere range from like at least $10 to $20, $30, anywhere in that range. Yes.
Yeah, it depends. It varies wildly. That's one of the important things.
Yeah, blockchain, how much data you are consuming, it all depends on how much storage. So as I said, data storage or computation, whatever you can call it, it's cheaper, way cheaper, and it's the purpose. That's the purpose of L2. Otherwise, that's, as I said, if that would have not been the case, anybody could have just used Ethereum for their own project, but that's not possible with our size of community and our the type of projects we are going to bring.
Absolutely. Right. So we're moving on to the next exciting thing. So there's a lot of buzz right now around the Shiba Inu operating system. So could you describe to us what Shiba Inu operating system is and what it's going to do, what it's going to bring to the community?
Sure. Yes, that's the big idea which we are working on right now. See, so if you look at it, everybody loves ecosystem or operating system. Right now in the world, you will find fans divided in the war of, Apple versus Android, or maybe MacBook versus Windows, something like that. And the reason they love is they love their operating system. They love the way it works, and same in the Web3. You can't just have fragmented applications here and there. You can't ask person to do one thing from here, second thing from there, and third from here. It's not a great user experience at all. So what we thought is like, why can't we just bring it all under one, umbrella? And see, it's endless. Technically, if you look at it, it's a thing which is not like, it's an endless thing. You can have as many utilities app and all. But what we did, we decided that, okay, these are the top 10, top 20 things which people need. We need to actually create an operating system, because you need to have a starting point, right? You need to start somewhere. You can't just have everything in first attempt. So we started this attempt with all the foundational stuff that we think about, the leaders and the community think about that. Okay, you need, obviously one of them is like, as I said, Shibarium. We already have it live. So you need a blockchain. Then you have Shiba Swap on top of it. Obviously, you need Shiba Swap. Then you have wallets and account abstraction, EOA, metaverse being part of that. You have games, and we have a lot of applications right now in-house. Our teams are actually building a whole suite of, part of what you say, kind of like, I mean, it's in part of the ecosystem. It's going to be like one place for everything kind of an application where you can just go once. And whatever you need in the Web3 right now, whether it's swap, whether it's dApps, whether it's, wallet related, whether you want to convert, whether you want to pay, whether you want to on-ramp, off-ramp, everything will be actually under one umbrella. So rather than treating your blockchains in the form of, okay, this is where I'm do my, like, rather than treating like, okay, this L1 I do this stuff, this L2 I do this stuff, rather than roaming from here to here, A to B to C, you just come to one place, everything under one umbrella. You can do whatever you want, and it technically becomes like your operating system, just like you do under your computer, right? So if you have like an ecosystem or operating system of your, let's say you have a MacBook ecosystem, or like, Apple, iPad and all. So you have everything under one. I mean, if I tell you that to do this stuff, you need to change laptop, that would be very frustrating for you. Then, it doesn't work in Apple, but that works in Microsoft or Windows. So we don't want to have those things, like, okay, you switch from wallet to wallet or chains to chains. That should not be the ideal Web3 scenario going forward. So that's why we have this ecosystem or this operating system which we are building, under which a lot of stuff which usually you need will come under one. And this will get evolved over time,
Yeah. But it sounds great. It's incredibly confusing for people in general when they're trying to use crypto in their day-to-day life, when they don't have these kind of unified experiences. We work every day at Zypto trying to provide interchain interoperability, ways for people to spend their crypto, useful things for their day-to-day lives. But they do have to switch between many, many blockchains because there isn't one that has everything, at least there isn't for now. So I think moving forward, those chains and those projects that aim to provide usefulness, this is my new thing, Whiz. I've been talking a lot about this recently. Crypto and blockchain as an industry and as a community, we've spoken about utility a lot, but I think we need to all start focusing on usefulness, which is different. Utility is like, it does something. Usefulness is it does something useful, and I think that's it's nice for me to hear you kind of going in that direction,
Yes, totally agree. See, that's what the end game is. The thing is, if you look at it that way, people still, I would still believe, I know people say this a lot, that we are early, we are this and that. It's true. Look at the crypto market right now. You will still know that majority of the people, I would not say a number, but I still believe majority of the people are not actually trying to realize the impact of the technology that we are trying to use, but they are more focused on the financial aspects of the things. I think people will relate what I'm trying to say by financial aspect, but they are just here to, look into the cryptocurrencies and tokens and this and that. But if you look at the whole blockchain or, the decentralization era, it's as a form of technology, you will realize that there is a lot of usefulness which we are still, we are still yet to adapt. We have not even explored those areas of blockchain which are, which can be used like in healthcare, in verification, in digital fraud identity. There are a lot of areas where the world can be a better place if we start using this tech. But unfortunately, the community is still mostly focused on financial aspects. That's fine. I'm pretty sure the peoples are evolving, and the more and more people will get used to it. They will understand how you should, rather than focusing on the shorter vision, you should focus on the usefulness, as you said, and that's when the 100% usefulness of the community will unlock, when we'll actually start adopting all this use. The moment you will see one or two big projects adopting the actual use. For imagine if you go to let's say imagine your passport being on blockchain and hearing all these cases in the world about fraudulent passport or any kind of identity proof. And imagine that being on a blockchain, like a country says from tomorrow that, okay, we don't issue physical passport. We start issuing this blockchain based passport, which are verifiable easily and all that. Imagine the moment. That's when the people will understand. They are not able to understand, the common man of every country, the whole world is not able to understand, because there are a lot of still jargons. You have to download this wallet, do this fund. And that's where the usefulness is getting, hindered. People are not able to understand the usefulness of the tech. So once the moment we make it more user friendly, we improve the UX rather than people doing explicitly from their end, we take it to them. That's when I think the more adoption will happen.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The user experience of crypto and blockchain systems has been, up until now, we're working to try and fix that. We know other projects that are also they've been awful. You need a PhD to be able to use them, and the learning curve is too steep. And that's probably one of the main reasons why we've somewhat stagnated in terms of the percentage of the population that's using blockchain. That's going to change, and it's going to change rapidly. I know people working in the banking industry that are adopting blockchain technology really fast because they know it's better than what they've been using up until now. And the same thing I think is going to happen for the rest of society. We mainly focus on payments. We say we're putting the currency back into cryptocurrency, but there's so much more that we can do. Like you're saying, like having your documentation, your medical records, deeds of ownership on blockchain, but then also it can have profound implications for democracy, for example, like a more direct democracy. So I'm really excited about what we're going to have coming up in the coming years. So the next thing we're going to move off into the future. So what would you say the latest things are that you're allowed to tell us that are coming from the Shiba Inu ecosystem? Is there anything big on the horizon that you won't get in trouble for telling us?
Yes, I'm not sure how much I can tell, but I mean, as I said, I'm more of a tech guy, so we are building something really good, maybe the next step of the whole Shiba Inu operating system. And it's almost there. We are building, I mean, as I said, we already have the L2, we already have swap and all. So we are bringing more value, and we are going to bring more utility to our L2. We are going to bring something which will empower people to actually use our Shibarium network in a more, useful way, where people can actually have their own. You can think of like more like their own roll apps or something like that. So yes, I'm not going into details, but this is where we are going to make, the ecosystem as look at the Apple Store or Google Play Store and all. So that's the idea. I mean, we have the base, but we don't have the place where people can interact with these applications and people can actually deploy or come with their own ideas for developers, especially. So we are improving that thing. We want to take the Shibarium ecosystem to the next level. We want to onboard more and more developers. So I think the next thing, which is almost on the horizon, I can say maybe next quarter or something. Like I'm not sure what like the timeline for people. I mean, some people will think 3 months is a lot. As a developer, I think 3 months is a short period. Like you can't build something in a night. So in the next 3 to 6 months, you will see Shib delivering a lot of stuff which we have been building the whole 2024 cycle.
Okay. So there's some things that you've been building all last year, and we're finally going to get to see them in the next 3 to 6 months. I totally agree with you, by the way. Is the community in general, everybody wants everything faster. I hope actually that's a way that the community will evolve over time as well, when they start to appreciate that it takes time to do things well. And it's better to release things that are good and useful and solid, rather than just launching lots of stuff quickly just to have more stuff. But yeah, that's exciting. So I'll be looking forward to that. Maybe we could have you back on at some point in the future to discuss these things when we're allowed to talk about them. So you mentioned that you're going to make it easier for people to build on Shibarium. And that's actually the next question I had lined up. So if somebody wants to contribute to the ecosystem, get involved, kind of start building, how would you recommend that they get started?
Okay. See, first of all, Shibarium, for those who don't know, Shibarium is very user. It's as same. I'm not sure the correct way, but it's 100% same how you build on any other EVM based L2 out there. If you have ever experienced Ethereum or any application, let's say any user like Optimism, Polygon, or Base Chain, like one of the famous rollups out there. So if you have used any of them, and if you as a developer know how to write smart contracts in Solidity, or using the hard hat templates and all that, you can literally just replace one line of your code, change the RPC or the network details from anything you are using to Shibarium, and your existing application or anything you are building new will get deployed on Shibarium smoothly. That's as simple as it's like plug and play. Okay,
cool.
All you have to do is just replace one line of code and change, and your existing apps will work. And for those who actually are trying to build and contribute, as a technical team, we also try to help whenever there's a question arise. We have literally like a full-fledged team. We have managers, marketing team, partnership team, and all who are there. So if there is somebody who's actually having a good project, building something big as a developer, as a company, I'm not sure, anyone can just reach out to us if you have any problem. We have documentation live. So if you're just a normal, like, let's say single developer or a small group, you can go through the documentation. I think there's a ticketing system as well. You can reach out to us via Twitter, anything, like just tag us. And I'm pretty sure our community or someone from our team will surely try to help. So it's open network. Like, it's not permissioned anyway. So you don't have to like wait for our permission or anything. You can, as I said, like Ethereum, like Polygon, like Optimism, like Base, you can just switch to network. It's dirt cheap right now. As I said, like literally nothing. It costs nothing. And the network is very stable, very, like, as I said, like already crossed 10 million blocks, almost 1 billion transactions. So yeah, it's smooth. So that's all I know. I mean, if you have any specific, you can ask, but like it's as easy as it can get right now to develop on any other network.
Cool stuff. So what kind of thing are you hoping to see more of in terms of community building or companies? Well, you're speaking to one now, so what kind of thing would you like to see us doing more of as well to contribute to the Shibarium ecosystem?
Yes. So I personally think that last couple of years, that may be my thought. People might disagree, but I personally think in the last couple of years, people have done a lot of infra building, as in they have built a lot of infrastructure, different chains, different apps, this and that. But as I said in the start, it's all about convenience. I mean, I believe that people move towards the direction where there is convenience. I mean, imagine this, everybody might have like a Visa or a MasterCard today. If I tell you that you need to understand how the card works before tapping it on a machine, I'm pretty sure 90% people will just switch, like drop their card and start using cash tomorrow. Okay, I mean,
they would. Yes, trust me, they would. We work with these things every day, and this is not simple.
Exactly. So I mean, all they do right now is just take out their card, tap it on the machine, swap it or whatever, enter details and one OTP, and they're good to go. They don't need to worry about how you're securing it, etc., etc. But when it comes to decentralization, unfortunately, decentralization comes with a bit inconvenience that you have to actually store your keys. You have to take care of your security of your own. That's like the sad part of the industry, but things are improving. So things are improving in the direction, like from 27 compared to 2017, we have a lot of tools available. We have a lot of self-custody wallets, which are very user-friendly and all. But I still believe there is a gap where people can still improve as a dApp developer, or as a company or as a developer, where you can make the experience better. I mean, I think infrastructure-wise, we are doing good. There are a lot of technology coming in, a lot of blockchains doing a lot of crazy work, parallel execution, 50 or I think 250 millisecond block time, all that's fine. Like TPS wise, see, we are not utilizing 100% of any blockchain right now. So people says that, Ethereum has a low TPS, this and that. I don't know any one chain where the TPS is 100% utilized till now. Every chain is underutilized right now. I mean, basically we have more space than people right now, and we are still trying to increase the space. So you don't need to. I mean, if you look at any average blockchain, L1 or L2, I mean, Ethereum has like 13, 14 TPS. Maybe someone like Polygon has like 30, 40. So that's not very big numbers. They can do much better than that. But you don't have that many people or applications. So my thing is, right now, the biggest gap is in the user experience. I think that, as I said, people can disagree. So the person or the company who will build the next best user experience for people, which we are trying to do via our ecosystem. I mean, it's our attempt. It might work, it might fail, but that's our attempt to improve that. That's why we are trying to bring, like, rather than roaming from places to places, we want to bring people under one umbrella. And if that happens, I think that will change the game. So that's the next big step, I think, for community as well, that they need convenience. They don't want to know all the technically jargon and stuff. They just want that, okay, I click a button, things happen. That's it.
Exactly. Well, we had to go through this phase, though. I think there's two phases that have happened so far. I'd kind of say there's the nerd phase that's happened, which is still ongoing, but where everything's very, very technical. And blockchain and crypto has been dominated by these kinds of people, behind the project. And then we've had the wave of speculation, which you touched upon earlier. So everybody's just looking at the charts and that's it, not thinking so much about the revolution that blockchain can be for society in general. Now we're moving on to mainstream adoption. We've been talking about it for years, but I see many, many signs of this actually happening. So thank you very much for that, Whiz. We'll have to move on, even though I could probably keep talking about this point for like 45 minutes. Right. So we're going to move on to the final section before taking some questions. We call this the big picture. So we're going to talk a bit more generally about blockchain stuff, which we've already started to do really. Anyway, so the first question I have is, so Shiba Inu started as a grassroots movement, as a community-based thing. Do you think that its evolution could or does serve as a blueprint for other decentralized projects?
Yes. I mean, see, it's technically saying that we can serve as a blueprint for other projects is maybe a big statement, but I think, yes, a lot of projects can learn that you should not underestimate if you have the right intent to do things. I mean, see, with all due respect, there are a lot of big projects, big companies doing really good stuff for the space. I mean, I'm going to put the crypto space above than anybody else. And I will speak as an engineer that I believe that a lot of companies and a lot of projects are really doing the things which needs to be done. But yeah, there is a lot of noise as well. So you can't ignore that. I mean, people know what I'm talking about. There is a lot of noise happening, especially in the last 1.5, 2 years, that, as you said, people are just looking at the charts and numbers and all that. So I truly believe that people should get above that. I mean, instead of doing that, they should look at it like, what projects are trying to do. I mean, see, we were actually started as a meme project, and then we are trying to go into the other direction where we want to actually bring the whole ecosystem and community and all that. So what's stopping the people, what's stopping the projects who actually started as a tech project to actually deliver the tech? I mean, think it this way. Like, if we can do it, if we wouldn't have done it anyway, nobody would have raised any questions, because the technical the initial part was, we were anyway labeled as a meme, but we have that intent and we have that vision to, switch the directions for the betterment of the community. But people who already have from the day one, why they are not doing it? So yeah, they should do it. As you said, there are already good projects, but those who are not doing it, yes, they can learn. They can think what we are doing. We can, if obviously collaborations are also open, people do it anytime. As I said, we are Ethereum aligned. We are using a lot of things which Ethereum already has. So it's not technically like a direct competition from like 100 people. It's more like how we can make the whole picture better together. And obviously some people can participate if they want to. If they don't want to, that's fine. They can just keep doing what they're doing. I mean, that's my idea. I mean, it's all about 5 years, 10 years. How do you want to make the technology better overall? I mean, it's not like Ethereum versus Shibarium or Shibarium versus Optimism. It's not like that. It's more about how we can make the whole space better together.
Absolutely. So I'm going to give my opinion on this. I think that Shiba Inu can serve as a blueprint for a couple of very basic reasons. And we've already mentioned them. You've mentioned the first one a lot, which is concentrate on delivering what you've promised. And the other word which you mentioned, which is try. You might not manage to do it, but at least try. I see too many examples of projects that launch. They have their very advanced, complex, exciting sounding white papers, but they just don't do anything in the end. But it's not just a crypto thing, to be perfectly honest. In startups, too many people take loads of VC money or whatever. They take investments from people and then they just spend it on fancy dinners and things like that, and don't actually try to do things. So I would say, yes, everybody should use this as an example of continuing to make an effort at the very least. So that's my opinion. I just hate to see it when people don't do the best they can. So another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is the partnership that Shiba Inu has with the Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure in the United Arab Emirates. So it's not really your department, I know. What do you know about this partnership?
Okay, I'll try to answer my best. As you said, it's technically above my pay grade, maybe. But the thing is, see, as I said, we are building good, things out there. I mean, and if there is, I mean, you don't have like smoke if there is no fire. So think it this way. It's definitely something we have that we are building, which people like. And obviously we can't show it to public yet, but we have started showing it to, in closed chambers. And also the partnership which you're talking about, they are looking to use our technology, including Shibarium and the ecosystem things where we are building. It's still in like, I'm not sure, alpha, beta, whatever phase you can call it. But yeah, I mean, they liked it. They understood the idea. And as I said, rather than having things in, fragmented areas, it's good if you have like an ecosystem idea. So maybe what we are trying to build is they might try to use it as their part of, they might want to make their own ecosystem, and they can just, license or use our tech to do it. So that's all I know, that we have to give them this tech, which we are building for their internal use and etc. Apart from that, the terms and all of it, as you said, like not my department, marketing, all, but yes. So all I can say is I'm proud that at least people have already started recognizing things we are building. And imagine this, if, as I said in the start, if there is no fire, why would there be smoke?
So exciting stuff. I all of these things that I see about crypto blockchain overlapping with governments, with big multinational TradFi companies, etc. We could never have imagined this a few years ago. We work directly with some of the, with household name traditional finance companies, but some are public, like MoneyGram and things, but others aren't. And we could never have imagined the interest that we have right now 3 years ago, or Shiba Inu partnering with the Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure of the United Arab Emirates. But how much more of these kind of things do you think are coming up in the coming years, like governments and things embracing these technologies?
Yes, I was about to touch the thing that I think I said in the start as well, that the people will realize the actual use case. So see, the government is not interested in meme coins and fake currencies and all that. The government is actually interested in the tech. I can vouch for that. So the moment world governments, Dubai is like, UAE has all been known as the trendsetter in the world. Everybody knows the tech things that Dubai does. Like Dubai always does things, crazy things. They always try to things which people are not even thinking about. So that's what the UAE government, I think, may be taking directions. I'm not saying that if not us, then who? Like anybody, they can try anybody. But the thing is, they liked our product. So the point is, I'm not saying about, like, there are more than 200 plus countries in the world. So that's what I'm saying. The moment the world will start realizing, the governments will start realizing, the big corporation will start realizing the importance of the tech part, that's when the actual user adoption will happen also. Imagine with this news, if the government start using this tech into, let's say their local airports or local currency or whatever, like they can have like n number of use cases. So people will not actually realize that how it's working behind the picture, but then with the convenience of the support of the government, the technology will actually work to make their life better. So that's what the end game is. It's not about asking everyone to just download, like go to this chain, go to that chain, or just, trade or swap currency. It's more important to embrace the technology and use the overall ecosystem of the product. And government is a big part of that. And I think I remember 2020, 21 when I'm not sure, like it's the same year, but a couple of years ago, I was hearing a lot of countries trying to, we will ban this, we will ban that. I think starting from like China and all that, like countries were not very happy about crypto growing, but I think now they understand. And I personally believe that in a couple of years going forward, it's just about, like couple of countries. Like the moment you will see 4 or 5 big countries started using it, you will see a wave. You will literally see a wave that, it's more like a trend setter. So the moment the trend starts, like 3-4 countries will use it. Let's say Dubai or UAE or USA or maybe someone in the Europe or Southeast Asia. That day onwards, you will see every country will like, okay, from this date, we'll use it that. And the next 2, 3, 5 years, almost every country will have blockchain as some part of their, technology.
I'm sure they will. There's no reason not to. It's just a better technology than they're using currently. So it will, it's a kind of a Darwinian natural selection, isn't it? It will rise to the top. It will survive and it will flourish. I'm seeing all sorts of signs of it. But what's really exciting for me is that there's kind of a convergence of both the general population accepting crypto and blockchain as being just normal things and not crazy, crazy gambling or everything being a scam, which is what they've been told. But they're realizing that's not the case. And at the same time, you've got governments and big business embracing it. So it's a great time to be working in this industry. It's super exciting. Right. The next thing I was going to ask you about, this is related to decentralization, privacy, and self-sovereignty. All hot topics. We in blockchain and crypto talk about this a lot. Obviously, it's important to us. Do you think people in general are waking up to the importance of these things? Is the general population getting more interest in decentralization, privacy, self-sovereignty? And will that last when this new generation comes along that shares everything on social media?
I agree with your idea. I mean, as I totally agree with that. And short answer would be no. Yes, I mean they don't in general, and the reason I think is they are addicted to convenience. Okay, I mean if you look at this way, in our generation we already have a lot of tech products in Web3 which have already made our life easier. For example, you have like obviously social media, and then you have like Amazon. And like things like Amazon, maybe like quick commerce delivery and all that. But basically, you can do anything just by sitting at home from a tap on your button. Sorry, few taps of the button on your phone, your laptop, and that has made people kind of convenience hungry. As in, like, if you tell them that okay, the privacy is there or decentralization is there, but you have to take a couple of extra steps. So that's where I see that hesitant, and they are not even ready to learn. I mean, if you give them I remember when Instagram came in, did anybody taught them how to use Instagram or YouTube or anything? No, they used it because it was fun, it was convenient. So as I said, I mean, yes, in general, they don't care. They want to. If you talk to them, they will like, yeah, I do want things keep my things private. I want to have, self-sovereignty and, decentralization product and all. But whenever there is inconvenience involved, I think that's where majority of our generation lost their patience there. I mean, if you ask them that, okay, they have to imagine this right now, if you want to move funds from an L2 to Ethereum and all, you have to wait 7 days or so, like on a roll up, and, like 40-50 minutes on something like a, POS chain like Shibarium or Polygon POS for like 40-45 minutes. That's where they are like, why I'm doing this? Although this is better than, I mean, the reason is they have not tried inter-country transactions. If you send money from country A to country B, there's already like a 3 to 5 days delay. I mean, generic answer from, let's say, USA to India and all that. But the point is, that's still convenient. You just tell your banker, or you just do one transaction, and then the background is handled by these sort of big banks already who have your data and everything. So they are like, okay, you take this data, but you do my job. And in the crypto space, it's more like I keep my data, but I do my job.
People essentially sell their privacy and their self-sovereignty for convenience. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's what's happening.
There is a general line. See, if something is free, then you are the product.
Exactly. I say this a lot. I tell my kids this all the time. It doesn't cost anything. Yeah, it does.
If it costs anything, you are the product, man. They are extracting data out of you to generate money. Don't worry. Nothing is free. There is no free lunch.
Yeah. Well, you are the product, and even if it's just, you can be the product in a much bigger system as well. Maintaining the status quo of the power structure and the way that money is funneled upwards. It's such a profound question, profound topic. I'm a bit more optimistic on this because I do think that there's a bit of a, more consciousness amongst the general population about how we're being manipulated, about how we're losing control over our own wealth, our own, what they're doing with the economy, with inflation and so on and so forth. So I don't know. I'm a bit more optimistic that people will realize and start to insist on, having more control of their own things.
Yes, I didn't mean that it will not happen, but the reason it's not happening that as quickly as we are expecting, as I said, it's not that convenient. I mean, it's not easy, to get yourself out of something and then do something which takes more effort than what you were doing. So the problem is, the moment we bring that level of convenience in Web3, or at least at par to that level, if not same, I will see more and more people will start moving. Right now, the only people who are shifting to Web3 ecosystems are the one who actually really are like, okay, yeah, I want my privacy. I want to control my own, data and everything. That's fine. But if you want to control some more, like technically the word can be like a more lazy people who are like, okay, I'll not do it until it's as easy as that. So you have to make it easy, as simple as that. I mean, the moment you make it look like Web 2, but it's still Web 3, that day you will realize that millions and millions of people will just get onboarded without even them realizing they are onboarded.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, so it's important work that we're doing here. So my next question, Whiz, is about the transition away from the speculative idea of crypto towards more mainstream narrative. How do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's going to happen? Will it be kind of two separate things, do you think?
I think it's a part of the parcel. I mean, I personally believe that people will start realizing the value someday, but I agree with you that there are the world is an unpredictable place. And I mean, whenever I see things like that happening, that people are just running to make money and, interacting with those kind of things, I'm like, okay, let them do it. But I'm pretty sure it's always a short-sighted, thing. I mean, you can't have that party running for years and years. So I'm also optimistic, just like you, that, one day will come. People will realize that this is not just about money making factory, or this industry is not just about, rug pulls and hacks and all that. I mean, yes, optimistic is it's in human nature, but I truly believe that it will require a lot of efforts from, regulatory part, as in as you just mentioned, the UAE partnership of the ship. So when this kind of things will come into the picture, the people will actually realize that how important this is, how helpful the technology is, how it can be easily integrated their day-to-day life. That's where I think the more people will stop getting interact with things where they can make just quick money, or somebody else can just, rug them. All this kind of stuff will stop. But until the education is there, until the adoption is there, until the mainstream adoption is there, I would say, not just adoption, but we have to get these things into a day-to-day life. That's when I think these people who are, running and just doing for short term, I think that's when it can improve. But I think it will never go 100%, because even in normal world, I mean, if you look at, it's not a Web 2, Web 3 problem. The thing is, everybody in the world, whether it's a normal life, I mean, remove technology, but I'm pretty sure everybody here must have heard about or experienced about, credit card scams, this scam, that scam. So these kind of things happen naturally. It's in human nature of some people that they do it. So it's irrespective of the industry, but yeah, it's part and parcel of the game. But the more awareness we have, the more use cases we get, the more education we do, I think that's when it can reduce to a number where it's not anymore in the mainstream, and mainstream talks.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to go. The speculative part of it is never going to go away. People speculate with everything. Before crypto, the biggest kind of super volatile thing that people traded was fiat currencies, FX trading. People just trade and speculate with everything, but that doesn't define the technology. Unfortunately, that's what people think in the mainstream very often. That's what crypto is and nothing else. But that's going to change. Right. I think it's time to open up to some audience questions. I really like it when people ask their questions with their human voices. So if anybody would like to raise their hand, just a reminder, we're here in the @Zypto Global Telegram group where we record all of these podcasts. Otherwise, I've got some questions lined up here that have come up in the chat while we were talking. Okay, as I don't see anybody raising their hand, I'm going to jump straight in with a question from Dan. So, Whiz, what is the one thing you're most excited about for Shib going forward? Good question.
Okay. I mean, it's very difficult to say exactly one thing, but yeah, there is something that we are building. I mean, see, as a protocol guy, I'm building some more infrastructure into our ecosystem part. And obviously, I'm sorry, I can't exactly name and tell the details, but I'm more excited about as I said, 3 to 6 months next, you will see us bringing something which not sure. I mean, people might relate it to some similar product, but it's completely different part of the ecosystem, not like, you roaming from places places to places or chains to chains. So that is might be the game changer. But the most important thing I'm more excited is about the vision. I mean, see, think of it this way, as I said in the start, you could have just stayed as a meme coin or not a tech, not a so-called tech project if they would have liked to, but at least they are trying the intent and all. So as I said initially, I was just somebody who usually casually used to advise and chat and all, but when I realized that Shib is actually a full-fledged team working on a lot of projects, I was blown away. And that's where I realized that it's not just a meme coin. I mean, if you have the right motivation, if you have the right intent, you can actually build things out of nothing. And honestly speaking, that's still the biggest part. My co-founders and all, I usually casually talk to them and they are still excited. I mean, things might work, things might not work, but at least we are trying and we are trying to change the narrative. That's the biggest motivation for me as well.
Excellent. I always say this, but I love speaking to people that are passionate about what they do. And actually, it's very common in this sector. people don't do this because it's easy or to make quick money or something like that. When you get to project level, generally what I find is people that are genuinely passionate about what they do, and I love it. So my next question comes with a statement from Finn. He says, Whiz, hello, and thank you for the great insights today. I'm sure lots of people appreciate it. Her question is, when the chart's going through a downturn, despite extremely positive news and developments in the project, how do the Shib team keep the community and token investors motivated? I'm going to expand on that. How would you say you keep yourselves motivated despite, criticism or negative feelings from part of the community when the chart doesn't follow the positive progress of the project?
Well, I like the question. Honestly speaking, it's very difficult for somebody who has been especially new or like not been long enough here in the industry. But it's not just about Shib. That's what we are talking about. We have to make this thing more stable. So if you look at the crypto industry in general, I've learned it, like I've started learning this back 2017, 2018 when I started, that you can literally, it's literally a roller coaster ride. If you look at the patience and the temperament of the people that are in this industry, you will realize that they are literally made like their heart is made out of stone, not like muscle. Because the things that are happening right now, what you said, ups and downs, especially down, you are mentioning right now. So it's part and part. It's part of the job. Honestly, yeah, we do get disturbed sometimes, but when we look at the history and when we look at the things that has happened in the past, we know, and especially when the industry is not yet fully evolved, we know that the day will come and people will start realizing the true value. Right now, the thing is, this market, as I said, like 70-80% is run by financial gains and 20% run by technical utility and all that. And we need to change that narrative. The day we will start looking at that narrative increasing, like more people realizing the technological part, more people realizing how good it is, and obviously maybe some big companies or especially governments and all start proactively getting involved into adopting this tech, you will see how quickly the narratives will change. You won't have to wait for like bull run or bear run and all that. Because that's happening right now because people are here for money. The moment we turn the narrative from money to tech, you will realize that the industry will get more and more stable, and that's why you have time. It's take it to your advantage. Look at it this way, that right now people are not realizing the actual value of the tech, and that's why just keep your head down and keep building, keep innovating, and when the moment will come, you might be one of the top people who come out of this this downside.
Excellent advice. So I don't think there's any more questions from... Oh, hang on. Did I hear somebody?
There's one.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question.
Oh, great. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask how exactly does the Shiba Inu DAO works, and will there be any features coming to the ShibSwap? If you can say, of course.
Okay.
Thank you, Andrea.
Yeah, I don't have honestly that answer. I'll get. I don't look into Shiba Swap. We already have another lead. I understand how it works and all, but I don't have much information because I'm more on the protocol side, like Shibarium and the backend blockchain. Shiba Swap is like a dApp built on top of Ethereum and Shibarium. So I don't know about which token will come when. That's their team's understanding. I might have some of my team members who can answer, but I'm not sure. So coming to how it works, the DAO and all. So you already know, like in at least in the in the staking, we have like Shiba Inu and Bone as two of our main tokens. There is Leash as well, which is community exclusive. So we are planning to revamp it. Trust me, the version 2, which is going to get live soon, will have really, really interesting rewards for people who stake and who use their tokens for voting and all. Right now, I think as far as I know, we have Shibarium staking already live, and we use those staking numbers, the value of the tokens that you have staked via validators and all. Since it's an L2 run by validators, you can stake. So we use all those factors into consideration when it comes to DAO governance and voting. But yeah, we are enhancing that to include all our tokens in the future. It's not just about one token. I repeat that future, the next version, which will go live soon, we will have more and more, tokens being part of the governance ecosystem.
Excellent. Well, that was a very comprehensive answer for somebody that doesn't know much about it. So I've actually got another couple of questions while you were speaking. So first of all, this is from Mario. He's asking, how easy is it for big crypto projects such as Shiba Inu to get big financial companies, gaming companies, or other kind of more mainstream companies into collaboration meetings. This is something that does need to be discussed. How easy is it for us to get these conversations going and to be taken seriously?
It's not easy at all. I won't say it's easy. The reason is, as I said, the narrative is also changing now. Like I have done a lot of calls, maybe not a lot, like a couple of calls at least in the last 1.5 year. And when I go on a call with, big companies who are already building tech products and all that, and when I tell them what they are doing, similar to what my reaction is, they also like, initially they are like, okay, really? Are you guys doing this? That great, crazy and all that. So, I mean, it's like, it's about the time we are in the verge of the momentum shift where people have started realizing that, okay, ship can also do this, ship can also do that. And like 2024 importantly was 2024 was like the pivotal point, I guess. That's where we have done most of our development. And 2025, we will actually start showcasing all that work we have done. So yeah, it's not that difficult, although they realize that it's a company, people exist and all. But when we talk about them, the technological stuff we are doing, the ecosystem and all that, it takes some time to, they also feel like, oh, really? Are you guys doing it? So, but yeah, it's not that easy. How should I say it? No, definitely they don't just come out. Nobody's a fan. Like in this world, it's not like that they just come out and as a Shiba fan and they're like, okay, we want to do this. But yeah, once you explain it to them, once you tell them what you're doing and all that, yes, everybody is like, okay, wow, great. And yeah, we do have some good partners and people that we are working. Couple of them are already public, if you know, like Zama FHE. So they have been one of our, FHE is like the next big kind of crazy tech that we are dealing with, working with day-to-day basis and all with Zama, in partnership with Zama. And you might have heard about a lot of articles and all that, maybe in FHE space. So yeah, once that things goes out, people will realize that how technologically advanced our product is.
So this whole topic is something that I'm very much involved with, how to speak to traditional companies and, in finance and beyond. It's something that we've got Zypto, we actually have a bit of an advantage in that we don't have the name that Shiba Inu has. So when we, our team or we have people that work with us from the community. So when they introduce us, they've never heard of Zypto. They see what we do and they see that we kind of sit between, traditional finance and the blockchain economy. So it's actually probably easier for us in a way. So I've got another question, and I think that's going to be the last one for the day. Where did I see that question? I like this one because it's not the kind of question that you normally get asked. This is also from Finn. She's asking, which platforms do the Shiba Inu team use to work and communicate with each other from day to day? Now, I like the question because it's not easy. There's so many platforms out there. We've got Telegram, which is not the easiest platform to use for like business stuff. Then you got Slack and Discord, etc. So how do you guys keep up to date?
I think our team is present on most of it. If you look at it, we do have, like whenever it's come to external communications, we do have a lot of Telegram channels with big other crypto companies and communities with, explain, discuss products, technical discussion, marketing discussion, all that. I'm not a marketing guy, but I've been involved in some of the groups where things have been discussed, and I am there just to oversee the technical part of it. So yeah, Telegram is obviously one. I think everybody knows and use it. Big companies, including like giants and all, everybody use it. And apart from that, internal communication, we use Slack right now. That's also pretty common. Yeah, that's like internal team communication. We do have some external communication groups on Slack as well. Like where like the other parties also Slack, and we have like if the communication is very active and we are discussing things on like day-to-day basis or very actively, like questions are coming, like replies are coming in, questions are coming in, and all that. So Slack is also a good medium because you don't have to switch. So I think for engineers and all, I still prefer Slack because everything is in one place. I can talk to my team member as well as external team member in one place. So I don't have to switch a lot, and then, we do have a community Discord where a lot of our community members, team members and marketing guys and all the other people. As a tech guy, I don't use Discord much myself, but I try to use Discord whenever I'm trying to reach out to external communities, other projects and all that sometimes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't get enough time to, look much into Discord. So mostly that is it from my side. Slack 1, Telegram 2. And we do have, general tools like Gmail, Notion, and, tickets and all that. Everybody has it. So that's what we use for tracking and collaboration and work together.
Yeah, I love that question because people don't think about these things. So Shiba Army, if you're listening now, try and bear in mind, like I honestly think the Shiba Inu community is one of the best in the world. They're almost always incredibly positive when we speak to them on social media, etc. But obviously, there's always going to be some people complaining. But you guys think about these people. They're people in their day-to-day lives, trying to keep up with all the messages, trying to close deals, trying to move stuff forwards. You know, we're all people here. So that was absolutely brilliant, Whiz. Thank you ever so much for all of your answers. It's been a pleasure, as always. We'll definitely have to catch up again as things continue evolving, because I really want to know what these things are that you've got coming up in the future. And I'm sure everybody else does as well. So thank you everybody for tuning in, for listening to Crypto Made Easy with Zypto. If you enjoyed this episode and you appreciate the effort that goes into making these recordings, we'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share the podcast with all your friends and family and work colleagues and everybody else. Don't forget to visit Zypto.com to download our app, which has Shibarium integrated in it. Of course, we accept Shiba Inu and Bone, etc. for all of our prepaid products, so our Visa cards, gift cards, bill payments, etc. And we'll have Shiba Swap integrated very soon. So yeah, I've been Joe Parkin. I'll see you again very soon for another episode. Do you have any closing statements, Whiz?
Nothing much. I will just say, like, for people who are worried about marketing and all, or not been in the industry for longer term, just keep, brace yourself, keep holding. The industry is going to take a lot of turns in the upcoming future, and it may take a couple of years, but we don't get, the noise get to you, or like, couple of months of noise, or like maybe a year. I've been in this industry for 7, 8, 9 years. I know, like Joe, you might have also seen like a lot of cycles and all, but all thing we know is like we are evolving, although not at a good pace, but going forward, we'll make it, That's, I believe people will realize one day that how important the tech and all is. So yeah, just keep, stay where you are. Don't worry.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much once again to you, Whiz, and also to the rest of the team for making this happen. And we'll speak again very soon. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
Crypto made easy by Zypto, blockchain, Web3, crypto.